40.
Good morning. This is Cynthia A. Johnson with Stand Up Now. Thank you for tuning in to this show. I hope you find this half hour enjoyable and inspiring as we showcase regular people from the city of Detroit who are doing great things and really making a difference in our city, the city of Detroit. Good morning, family. This is Stand Up Now with Cynthia A. Johnson, and you're listening to us on the great Gospel 1440 WMKM Reborn. And good morning to my dear engineer this morning, Mr. Manson McCann. How are you?
I'm fine and dandy, and happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and Martin Luther King Jr. birthday.
Guess what else? Today is number 3 of Kwanzaa. Did you forget that?
Well, yeah, I forgot that. You know,
we can't forget that.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's all right for you being sorry. I was so happy when I saw you this morning. This morning we are going. I have a survivor in our studio, and we are going to be discussing a very important issue: domestic violence. And domestic violence is running rampant throughout most communities. But I will deal with domestic violence inside of the city of Detroit. I'm asking you to take part in our discussion there with my guest, Ms. Cece. Ms. Cece cannot discuss everything because there is an ongoing investigation. But she is, praise God, a survivor. Good morning, Miss Cece.
Good morning. How are you?
I am very well. Miss Cece is one of those people. As a matter of fact, she's a personal friend of mine. And for many years, I've been knowing this woman for many, many years, over 30 years. And little did I know, I had suspicion, and the family had suspicion that there was some domestic violence going on, but she would always deny, and deny. Well, praise God. I have a praise God report for y'all. She finally, after getting kicked in the head, choked to the point of passing out, just beat up for no reason other than, well, I'll let her tell her story, but we are also going to give you information as to how to get out of a domestic violence situation. And I want you to know that this is not only a woman issue. However, most women are the victims, and if they live, the victors of domestic violence. But there are some men, but again, most women are the victims turned victors. So just share with us what you want to share from your heart. Now, we're just having a conversation, so share with us a little bit about what your experiences have been, and then what have you learned from this?
Okay. Excuse me. You know, I'm not going to mention his name, but there were signs there that I refused to recognize. I knew that it was there, but I kept turning a blind eye, or so to say. They started going through my phone, started accusing me of different relationships that I wasn't having. He would be like Dr. Jekyll one day, Mr. Hyde the next day. I didn't know what I was coming into the house to. This last incident, it went too far. I was choked unconsciously. I was kicked and stomped in the alley. I was threatened to be disrobed on a street, and I still thought he loved me. But that's not love, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you, that is not love. You keep trying to make excuses. I kept lying to my family. Of course, saying, oh no, I got bit by a bug, my eye all black. I fell down. the common lies, stories that you make up to cover because you're embarrassed. You are embarrassed. You are ashamed. I never thought I was going to end up in this situation. I thought this man loved me. And I don't know if he did. Maybe he still do. I don't know. But I know I cannot keep going. No one has to go through this. No one. Where you're beaten, humiliated, embarrassed, belittled, called all kinds of names. That's the physical abuse of it. It's the mental abuse of it. The physical abuse comes in, and it just tears you down. It tears you down, ladies and gentlemen. And I just came to the point before I said, when he strangled me unconsciously, I said, I got to tell somebody. So I turned to my family. It's a good thing I had a family to turn to. Some people don't have that. It's just a messed up situation. Don't stay in a situation because he cries and says, I love you, I'll never do it again. A month after that, you're being accused of something. They're going through your phone. They made me give up my password to my voicemail.
Lord Jesus.
It's a situation that you don't have to stay in. Of course, I thought I was in love. Maybe I still do have feelings for him. But the feelings that I have for him on the love side is dead. It's dead, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot go through this. I cannot go through this any longer. And if anyone's out there that's listening, you don't have to go through this. You're better than that. He has broke me down where I feel like I'm useless. And that's how they make you feel. I can't say the names that he's called me over the radio. But believe me, he has called me some terrible things. It's no fun getting stomped, kicked in the head, choked unconsciously, till your eyes turn red. That's unnecessary and it's unacceptable. I don't know. You want to say something, Cynthia?
Yeah. It tears me up.
And I'm about to tear up too. That's why I'm turning the mic over to you, because retrospect, thinking back, the things that I went through, unacceptable. And I thought he claims he loves me. That's not love. That's control.
Oh, say that.
That is nothing but control.
Our phone number here, 313-871-6094 or 313-871-6095. I shared with people on Facebook yesterday that this is going to be an open and honest conversation about domestic violence. And there is no reason for any of us who have been victims, victors, survivors, to be embarrassed. And I can just say this to you, Miss Cece, I'm so proud of you for coming out and letting us know just what was going on. And I praise God that you're not one of those people who's 6 feet under. Let me also say something too. We had some situations with Detroit police at the precinct. Doesn't matter what precinct it was, but it was a precinct who had supposed to be helping a person who is a victim of domestic violence. Well, when she went inside there, and I went with her, and I was just appalled by the way they treated her. And if I did not go in there myself, I would never have believed that a person who was crying out, begging for help, would have been treated the way she was treated. How did you feel when you went in there, Connie?
Like I was being victimized again. They seemed so cold and unconcerned, like it was my fault. It was my fault. Telling me go downtown and get an eviction notice. What is that to tell somebody? You know, you're supposed to be there to help a person. They didn't want to take the report. It's like they don't take domestic violence seriously. Then maybe it's the training that they have. I don't know. But I know I was treated so cold. I felt ashamed even coming in there asking for help. They made me feel smaller than I already felt. You know, I said, should I have came in? They was asking me questions. You know, when you've been stomped in your head, you can't remember all the details, like the dates and this. I knew this had happened. I didn't know the exact dates. I had some dates I didn't have. But the way that I was treated, I see why there's so much domestic violence. Because, you know, they belittle you. I felt so small and humiliated, you know.
And then they had given her a phone number to contact domestic violence. Well, the number that they had given her was an incorrect number. And that should never happen. Well, after hours of searching, we finally found, and that's another thing too, not one victim should ever have to search after being given a phone number by the police department or law enforcement. No victim should have to search for the correct number or the correct name of an individual who supposedly is supposed to help. Well, after hours of us looking, we finally found the correct numbers. If you run into a situation where you have to reach out to domestic violence, their unit, and let me just say this, the domestic violence unit, Officer Bullock and Sergeant Sanders were phenomenal. They were what all officers should be, but all officers are not trained in domestic violence. I guess that's why they have a domestic violence unit. But all officers should be sensitive to people who come in. Rightly or not, they should be sensitive to all people, and it should be a universal reaction to anyone who comes in and asks for help. Why do I say universally? Because that's just like when I worked inside of the prison and people would claim that they had a heart attack. It was not up to me to determine whether or not they were telling the truth. It was up to me to act on and make sure that they got treatment. And the same thing goes to every single officer in every single precinct. It is not up to you to condemn or to be judgmental. And I felt so bad for Miss Cece when she went in because they were so judgmental and with a lack of compassion. But I'll tell you that the Detroit Police Department Domestic Violence Unit, I don't know if they were good and nice and very cooperative because I had put the department on blast, but I had spoken with a person who is a domestic violence professional who told me, she says, that department, the domestic violence department for DPD, is one of the best. And she said, no, they take their jobs very seriously. But let me give you, please get a pen and paper. If you need to contact domestic violence, the domestic violence unit, the correct number is 313-237-2579. Again, this is for the domestic violence unit, 313-237-2579. Now, as Miss Cece had indicated, she thanked God that she has family. And I'm going to say this to us, all of us. I believe that one of the reasons that we have some of the issues in our community is because we have the secret of
absolutely
of domestic violence going on inside of the homes, and people don't want to talk about it, or like she said, being embarrassed. I was a survivor of domestic violence. And I know that I was embarrassed. I felt humiliated. I remember running down Linwood and seeing one of my friends and didn't know what to do, and I was just frantic. And the friend was in a car, and he saw me. He knew who I was, but I know I looked crazy to him. But I didn't know what to do. And there are so many, especially women, who just don't know what to do. Well, I'm asking all the families to please not be judgmental. Yes, there are some people, there are some women. Too often, there are too many women who make a report and don't follow through. That's another thing, ladies. You have to follow through.
Absolutely.
If you don't follow through, in part, this is one of the things that makes the police so frustrated. I understand that we do have a caller. Caller, good morning. And what is your name?
Good morning. My name is Keith Hines.
Good morning, Mr. Hines. Thank you so much for calling.
Yeah, good morning, Cynthia. I told you I promised I'd try to call in.
Okay.
Yeah, domestic violence is interesting. You know, me, over the years, I've been, how would you say, out there, you know, in the media and in surroundings and different organizations and groups, and I've run across a lot of situations. And, you know, a lot of times what I would get from a lot of women would be that they didn't want to go back home, and go back home would be to their parents' home. You know, they wanted to stay with this guy because they had a child with him, and they were going to try to make it work. It was even a situation where I had a woman come over to my house, and I had to stash her away at another house to keep her from her husband. And he comes and he asked me, he says, "Where's my wife?" I said, "She's not here. I had somebody take her away. Don't worry, she's in good hands." You know, of course, he wants to get upset with me, and I said, "You're over here challenging me at my house." I said, "Your wife is in good hands." And, you know, of course, he calmed down, but he was drunk is what it was. And when he gets drunk, he gets violent. And that, for some reason, seems to be with men what happens so much. Alcohol and violence seem to come together. Seem to create I don't know, maybe it's the energy or whatever it is, but I think it might have a lot to do with our upbringing. If you watch television, everything's about violence. If you listen to the music, women aren't respected in music. So we got a generation coming up that really is being misled.
You know, one of the reasons that I had asked you to call the station was because of one of the comments that you had made on Facebook. And the comment was in regards to a statement that I made indicating that I was very concerned with the lack of responses from men on a topic such as domestic violence. Many of the men who are on Facebook and many of the men who I have had contact with, they have so much to say about so many things, but it was scary and disheartening to see that you were like in the minority of men who would even comment on the subject. And that's another thing. There are men and even women who know what's going on, who see their friends and family assault a woman, wife, girlfriend, and they don't do anything. And I've noticed that men and boys speak poorly, call the woman a B or just all kinds of different names. That is a red flag for domestic violence. And some people think that domestic violence is only when one is hit, and that's not true. How do you want to comment on that, Mr. Hines?
Well, you're right. There's all types of different types of domestic violence, and a lot of the guys over the years would say, "Don't worry about it, Keith." I heard that so many times. "Don't worry about it. She shouldn't go back to him." And that would be the extent as far as their concerns. Like, don't worry about it. But the truth is, it's happening.
Yes, it is.
It's happening, and our African American men. You know, I'm proud of you guys, but then again, I'm disappointed because of the fact that you ignore it and you try to take and I don't know where you want to go with it. And I'm talking to the African American men. But first, you have to take care of home first. And home is not just your four walls, but it's the community you live in and the people around you. And so, yes, I did have to make a comment on that because I've seen this, all these years. Even when I was growing up as a kid, I was a witness to it. So it's not that it doesn't exist. And I watch it grow. I watch a child grow up to become a violent person.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, it's a disease. It is a disease. And at some point, we have to take, as men, we have to say, no, I'm not going to make that comment even if it's on that record.
That's right.
No, I can't allow my child to speak like that in my home.
And I can't allow my child to listen to that, not in my presence.
Yeah, because they're being brainwashed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Connie, you wanted to say something.
And you know what? You mentioned that I don't know if I heard you correctly, but I don't know if it's a hereditary thing or not, because in my situation, this individual, we grew up as kids. I've seen his father beat his mother. So it's like a generation thing. His daddy did it, so he's following suit. I guess he thought it was all right. It's all right for my daddy to do it. I'm going to do it. It's not all right. It's not all right. That's what I'm trying to get out. It's not okay. You know, I have suffered. I've been married for 8 years. And all of 8 years, I think it's only 2 years of those 8 years that I wasn't jumped on, accused of stuff, followed around, imaginary people that I supposed to have been with.
It's okay, honey. We have another caller. Keith, thank you. If you want to hold on, you're more than welcome to hold on and take part in this discussion.
I want to make one more comment. Yeah, hold on. Mm-hmm.
Okay, hold on, Keith. Good morning, caller. Your name, please.
My name's Virginia.
Good morning, Virginia.
Hi, how are you doing, Cynthia?
Very well, thank you. And you?
Great.
Good.
Are you ready for me to?
I'm ready for you. We are ready for you.
Okay. Well, my biggest problem with domestic violence, and I noticed that you had touched based on a lot of women don't follow up.
Right.
And I guess is when they make the report, the police report.
Yes. When it goes to the prosecutor, because the prosecutor, they'll attempt to take it to court, but if you don't follow through and you don't go to court, then that case will more than likely be dismissed.
Okay. Well, my problem is once the person makes the report, and then they get a list of so many different places that they have to call,
Mm-hmm.
that they would be able to go to,
Mm-hmm.
there is not a lot of location as far as resources for a woman to go.
You're absolutely right. And that's why it's very important that we as a community, we as a family, not be judgmental and be open to our families. And I think that's in part why Miss Cece did not tell her family. Not only was she embarrassed, she felt humiliated, but she didn't know how the family was going to take it. And after all, Miss Cece, you've been with him for over 8 years. Why you keep going with this? You must like it. All of which is not true.
Correct.
And then the one thing that I look at is it's me and my daughter. And my abusive situation is verbal, mentally.
Mm-hmm.
While I'm trying to figure out how to get a job, how to find shelter, or how to find a place to live, the main thing is the safety of the kid. And you don't want to be out on the side of a curb. A lot of times you don't want to be in the shelters.
Mm-hmm.
And they just do not supply you with a safe haven even though Haven says the word Haven. When I called them, they said there is no available room.
Absolutely.
And they give me a list that I'm very much familiar with. I know the whole system.
We have very little time, Virginia. We're going to bring this subject back up on this coming Thursday. We have another caller, but before we go to that call, and I thank you so much, Virginia, and you're absolutely right. That's why I'm saying that.
Safety is the important thing that keeps the person there. Okay.
Say that again?
Yeah. Safety is the important thing that we don't have, and it keeps you involved with the abusive relationship.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's why I'm asking families to step up and help out, and you be that safe haven for them. We have another caller, but Keith, what did you say? Can you make your comment real quick, please?
Okay, I just wanted to say, too, that men can also be victims of domestic violence, and I can say that directly because I woke up one morning with the blanket on top of me burning, and my wife's a few feet away from me washing dishes.
Oh, Lord. Keith, we're going to pick this back up on Thursday.
Had to put that out there, but...
And you're right. You're right. Men can also be victims. We have another caller. Caller, we have less than a minute.
Take care, Cynthia.
Thank you.
Hello?
Good morning.
Hi, yes. This is your niece, Tamika Hoskins.
Hey, Tamika, sweetie. How are you?
I'm beautiful, and I just wanted to call in for a second just to tell my Aunt Connie that I love her, and we're going to fight this to the bitter end, and we by you, and we just want you to know that you are loved.
Okay.
Thank you so much,
Thank
darling.
you.
That was beautiful of you. And actually, she was supposed to be Miss Cece, but thank you, everyone. Thank you, Connie, for being so strong, since she's already mentioned your name. Thank you for being so strong as you are. Thank you, women, for being as strong as you are. Know that you have a safe haven within somebody in your family and friends, and don't be afraid.
Come out, tell somebody.
Tell somebody and be like a bird. Tweet, 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 and don't keep it a secret. You have been listening to Stand Up Now with Cynthia A. Johnson, and you're listening to us on the Great Gospel 1440 WMKM, and we will be back on Thursday with this same subject. God bless.
Listen, you could tell me the truth. You could tell me the truth! Why are you talking to that guy last night?
I wasn't!
Listen, don't talk to guys. Listen! Why you was talking? I'm not playing. I'm not playing.
Yo! What are we doing?
Oh, chill. Yo, we're filming. We're filming.
Hey! Yo! Can't do that. Are you having a motion? Can't do that here. Can't do that here.
You texting that girl again, huh?
I wasn't cheating at you.
I saw that picture too.
I wasn't cheating at you.
Stop on the ground.
I wasn't cheating on you.
Serious? Are you serious right now? Are you serious? Are you serious? Are you serious?
Come on, bro.
You don't do that